Yeah. Yes, it will also be live streamed on YouTube. So it's okay.
We have a message.
It is now streaming live on YouTube.
Great.
Yes. Let me call Palash Bhai once, then we can start. We should start in 2 minutes, right? Saransh sir and Samir sir, we should start in 2 minutes, right?
Sure, no problem.
No problem. Yes. 1 or 2 minutes more. Cool. Good morning, Palash Bhai. Welcome.
Very good morning. Very good morning.
Good morning, Palash Bhai.
Very good morning, all of you.
So, Palash Bhai, should we go ahead?
Yes.
Oh.
Sir is available right now?
Yes. We have invited all, and most of them have also joined by YouTube.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm starting, okay?
Okay.
So good morning and welcome to an all new sessions of Pin Talks by EDI Alumni Association. My name is Akshay Bajaj and I am as excited as you are for this special session on ONDC. So today's session is dedicated to Online Network for Digital Commerce, a game-changing initiative to promote open e-commerce in India for all kinds of sellers and buyers. And without further ado, let's open the session by having opening remarks from Mr. Sameer Alawadi, who is the founder and director of Utkarsh Agrochem and Trees Valley Technologies. He comes with an entrepreneurial experience of over 20 years, and his ventures have also been recording success via selling from various e-commerce platforms. Here I invite our first batch alumni, Mr. Sameer Alawadi. Sameer sir, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Akshay, for giving me opportunity and for the invite. I would like to give a small introduction about myself. We started selling offline in agriculture, pesticide, fertilizer, etc. in 1999. And before around 2015, we started listing on various platforms. Around 2018, we made our own website, which was a normal website. Just before lockdown, we converted our website into e-commerce. So during lockdown, we started listing in various platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, agri portals like AgriBagri, Big Heart, Pulsvilla, Agrosia, Bharat Agri, etc. And currently, we are selling our products on more than 10 platforms. And now we are purely an e-commerce company. Previously, we used to sell offline also, but during the lockdown, we realized that online is much better. So the difference which I found between these two and how ONDC is different, just I would like to put my views. When we made our website from normal website to e-commerce website, other than website, we need to integrate our website for payment gateway. We need to arrange for courier services with COD, with the PIN codes and all. Then we have to fulfill our orders. We have to track them. We need to track whether we are receiving payments and all. And all these things we have to do. And the difference between our own website and listing on Amazon, Flipkart is that we don't have to look for payment gateway or courier charges. Even if we go for fulfillment by Amazon or fulfillment by Flipkart, we don't have to fulfill. So these are the things that everyone cannot do, and it was difficult. Means these are the two stages. Now, what I have understood ONDC is that there are service providers to give all this. One is the seller platform where we can do our listing. Then the customer can choose the payment gateway. The customer can choose the courier service. Even currently, I don't see the fulfillment agency, but very soon I expect that fulfillment agency will also be listed on ONDC platform. And these are the some overviews that I have related to ONDC. And what I am seeing is that everyone is not techno savvy, especially small sellers, retailers, or many people who are means certain age also. They are not so techno savvy, and everyone cannot do listing or can create their own e-commerce website and do all these things. So ONDC will make their life so easy, listing so easy. Big revolution is going to come in e-commerce because of ONDC, because ONDC has broken up all the major things that are required to do online selling, and they are already implemented and one level has reached. But when this is when the full potential will come related to ONDC, I think that will be a big revolution, very much similar to the UPI. Now it has become, UPI has become a benchmark for the world, and so many countries want their technology and they want to implement. And I suppose a couple of countries have also taken the technology and have started implementing it also. I hope the same for ONDC in the coming years. This is from my side.
Nice, nice. We hope ONDC is also adopted by many countries. So, yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much for these opening remarks, Samir sir. And finally, it's the moment to invite our guest speaker for this session, Mr. Saransh Agarwal. First, I'll give an intro about him. Then he'll have his whole session dedicated to ONDC, and then we'll have the session open for Q&A. Okay, so he did his education like as follows: BE in Mechanical Engineering from BITS Pilani, and he did his Young India Fellowship from Ashoka University. And about his work experience, he has worked in different capacities with BHEL, CSIR, Indian Institute of Petroleum, and International Innovation Corps. But his most notable roles have been with Google, Quality Council of India, and ONDC. Today, he serves as the Chief of Staff at ONDC, a digital commerce platform launched by DPIIT by Government of India. So on behalf of EDI Alumni Association, I welcome Mr. Saransh Agarwal for this special session on ONDC. Saransh sir, it's all yours.
Samir, thank you for the opening remarks. Friends, colleagues, thank you so much for taking out the time on a Saturday morning to join us. I think one of the most important reminders I get working at ONDC is almost everyone I get to talk to have work experience roughly around my age. So with that, which is both a great learning opportunity for me and also human, makes me humble. So I will beg all your forgiveness for anything I miscommunicate. But with that, what I would want to do today, usually there is a lot of media talk, there's a lot of press coverage, there's some content we put out about ONDC, right? But what I want to do is, rather than going about specific features or specific things or data points or something tech about ONDC, help you or help everyone understand what exactly ONDC is. Because one thing is for sure, that there is nothing like ONDC which has ever been even attempted across the globe. So what I would want to do is actually tell you three stories. That's to start with. Just three stories, which I hope will highlight with some narrative what is the problem that we are trying to solve, what is the approach that we are solving it, and what are fundamental tenets of ONDC. Okay, so I think the first story is most pertinent, which is and again, all these stories are real, right? These are anecdotes rather than stories, for the lack of a better word. So when we look back to the foundation of ONDC, and unfortunately, I was lucky enough to be part of that very early initiative 2.5 years back, where Ministry of Commerce was thinking about it. So let's rewind ourselves to the COVID lockdowns, right? And eh, just to give a personal example, right? Uh, I stay in Delhi, in a fairly well-to-do area of Delhi. I was stuck at my home. I was alone, and of course, I am young. I am educated, more than enough digital savvy, all what you can expect. So I have my phone. I use e-commerce apps on a regular basis. I come from a generation where e-commerce is by default, right? That's what you've grown up knowing and using. And let's face it, the likes of Flipkart and Amazon and Uber and all of that, the e-commerce companies which have come to India in the last decade, have fundamentally changed Indian markets. There was no e-commerce before that, and that was very important. But again, so we are in COVID lockdown. I am at home, and my usual grocery store is barely a kilometer away, less than that. I usually go by, the doodh, bread, milk, chai patti, chini, from the person, usually when I'm going or coming from work, like perhaps most of us here. Now, if I go, it's 11 a.m. Roughly on a Saturday morning. Probably if I go there right now to that store, if during the lean hours, especially let's say 2-3 hours later and during the summer, maybe mostly I'll find the two guys sitting there happily watching YouTube on their phones, playing Candy Crush and whatnot. They have their UPI, they have the UPI QR codes up front. They have the POS machine there. They accept credit cards. So what I'm trying to point out here is that both parties here are more than enough digitally savvy. Yeah. Now, COVID lockdown happens a little more abruptly than anyone anticipated. And unless I was lucky enough to have exchanged phone numbers with my usual Kirana store, there was no way for me to have to communicate that, I need chai, I need sugar, I need milk, I need bread, I need salt, I need basic supplies during those 6 months, 12 months of COVID, which is flabbergasting if you think about it. There is supply, there's demand. Those Kirana stores and a lot of these stores very often did not run out of basic supply during most of the COVID lockdown. So there's identified supply, there's identified demand. I have money to pay for it. I really need it. Both of us are digitally savvy. We are both using all kinds of digital platforms. We use e-commerce, but I still can't communicate unless I had exchanged phone number. I still can't communicate my need or my demand to that supply. In an India which prides itself with digital revolution, and we are very much the forefront of uh, leapfrogging technology across the globe, this becomes a little flabbergasting, right? If you look at if today if I order groceries online on any of the e-commerce app, more likely than not, it is coming from not a half a kilometer away. In fact, if I ping that guy on, let's say, WhatsApp, Bhaiya, can you please send me bread and eggs and this and that? He'll probably send his, helper guy. It's less than a kilometer. It will take him 5 minutes to get here. He will send that guy. I can ping him through UPI or whatnot, right? So that if the communication is there, he can happily serve it to me. But right now, if I order groceries online, the same groceries online, they come to me not from half a kilometer away, 1 kilometer away, but 20 kilometers away. And that is inefficiency in its most fundamental form. If technology, again, if which is why I keep thinking about the how to understand ONDC. If you think about the most core principles of economics, it becomes very apparent, right? If this supply and there's demand, then they should meet, and that's the idea of a market. A market is where supply and demand meets. But distally, that is somehow not happening. That will happen if by lucky chance in today's world, if we are both on the exact same e-commerce platform, but I have maybe 10, 20 options of e-commerce platforms, as Samir was saying earlier. As a seller, you have 10, 15, 20 options. How many will you list? And like social media trends or hashtags or Twitter trends, they rise, then they come. Right. In some areas, for some products, for some customers, young, old, different kinds of e-commerce platforms will be more popular. How many will you list at? And every one which we list at will increase, as Samir was alluding to, overheads. Managing each of them is separately. Each has their where Samir did not mention when comparing between his website business and selling through platforms, commissions, right? And in some products, in some areas, the commissions can be actually quite high. And again, I come from that background of digital marketing and working with e-commerce. It even if a seller lists on e-commerce today, it takes a while and quite a bit of skill as well as dedication and practice to actually be profitable at a unit. You are probably hardly ever profitable at a unit economics level, but even being profitable at an aggregate level very often is a challenge. And that is true largely for most people which you join. And even though I started this as a story, I have facts to prove this up. If you look at e-commerce as a proportion of commerce in India, and we at ONDC think of commerce very, very broadly and very intentionally so, and I'll come to that. We think of commerce as any product or any service which is being transacted, like B2B, B2C. So from your sugar to your fresh vegetables to your food delivery to cabs to insurance to bulk goods to industrial goods to, literally any product, any service when I talk about it. So if you ask a fundamental question, what percentage of digital commerce is digital, e-commerce? Depending on who you ask, which report you look at, what slicing and dicing you do, someone will say 5%, someone will say 7%, someone will say 8%. Absolutely no one will give you a double-digit number. And that is after we obviously got a huge boost during the pandemic for e-commerce, where everyone was dependent on it, right? So it's still single digits. By comparison, most comparable countries which we aspire to, we are the fifth largest economy on earth now. Top four have it in high 30s, mid 20s to high 30s. So, and if you look at now participation in terms of how many sellers, how many traders actually participate in e-commerce, that number was even less. So what we saw maybe 1%, 2% in certain segments, 0.1 to 0.2% of sellers actually transact on e-commerce. And again, this is after a decade of digital empowerment and e-commerce revolution in India. So something is definitely wrong, right? Uh, E-commerce right now in India has existed for a while, but it is certainly not inclusive. It's certainly not accessible. It's
Saransh,
certainly
Saransh, sorry to interrupt. There are some questions coming up on the things you shared. So can I ask them to ask you right now?
let me finish this section and I'll come to these questions.
Sure. Please.
So we'll go section by section. Yeah. Okay. So just getting back. So e-commerce today certainly has gaps. When you think about in the Indian context. Another way of putting it, and let's make it a little more personal. I come from a generation where e-commerce is easy. Again, going back to the COVID times, uh, my parents were stuck in Pune during COVID. I couldn't get them here, couldn't go back home. It was a challenge for me to educate them. And again, they are both highly educated professionals who retired 2, 3 years back. Uh, it was still a challenge for me to help them order their groceries online. And half the times I had to do it on their behalf. Uh, so if I ask you, and I think I thought I saw EDI is based in Ahmedabad. As a question, for instance, I know about New Delhi. If you want to have chaat in New Delhi, right? You go to Old Delhi, you have those small places which are literally famous, world famous sometimes, where you get brilliant food. Most of them you will not find online. Very similar. Again, if you want to buy, I don't know, supplies for a puja at home, right? Very often what you will have is that one shop in that one market or those set of shops in that little market which you go to buy, right? uh, why? Because most of these products are not available online. And so what is ONDC trying to solve? We are trying to make e-commerce, digital commerce, accessible and inclusive, right? My job, as simple as that, is to get that 6-7% e-commerce penetration up to 40-50%. I want our vision, our absolute, flabbergasting goal is that any business, any trader, be it your thela wala to the largest industrialist, should be able to very easily, very comprehensively, without even thinking, if you can start a business offline in India, you should be able to do business online in India. And it should hardly be any different. That is what the goal of ONDC is. That is what the problem that we are fundamentally trying to solve. And it's also consumer side problem, which is what I was trying to illustrate from my parents or my grandparents example. My grandparents or my parents are used to doing business in a certain way, which is they call someone and say, can you get this for me? Why can't I do it through technology? Right. So India, the idea is that the technology should adopt to way business is done in India, not that the businesses, the people and the consumers and the sellers in India should adopt to e-commerce. I think that's the fundamental goal we are chasing. So I'll stop here and I'll take some of the questions. Akshay?
Nimit, please go ahead with the moderation of questions.
Yeah. So, Saransh, the first question is, what exactly is the ONDC? Is it a protocol? It is an app, or what is it?
No, we'll come to it. We'll come to it. So as I said, first section, problem. Second section, how we're solving it, what is ONDC. Third is how to think about it going forward. So we have just covered first section. So what is ONDC? We'll come to it. I thought understanding what problem is more important in most cases than the solution. So questions like sectors coming, we'll answer. Give me about 10-15 minutes more.
So we can do that the Q&A session right afterwards after you finish the whole thing, and even if the audience has any question, then we'll continue with the question and answer.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. All right. So now that we know what we were trying to solve, uh, let's think about what is ONDC and how we are trying to solve it. Yeah. Again, story number 2. This is my boss Koshi's favorite story. He keeps quoting it everywhere. Um, think about Tim Berners-Lee invented HTTP in like the internet, right? Hypertext transfer protocols. When you open any website right now, it typically starts with http://www.google.com, facebook.com, edi.com, whatever. So now the idea is that the reason internet is what it is today is because HTTP was created as an open protocol. It was internet. If you ask someone what is the internet, they will always say it's a network. It's not a place. It's not a thing. It's not a platform. It's a network. And why is that powerful? Uh, Let me give you an example. While setting up this session, Akshay sent me, I think, a couple of emails. I'm pretty sure there would have been a few, at least a handful of emails exchanged between the members here just in planning this session. There would be many things you would have thought about while sending those emails. I can bet not one of them wasn't, listen, I am using Gmail. This guy is using Outlook. Will my email go through? Now, why is that? Because and you would have heard recent developments and announcements. Gmail is implementing Bard on its email software where you can smart compose, and Microsoft is doing something else with ChatGPT, and Node, what do you call it? Proton Mail has a very different security feature it offers, and Hotmail has legacy to it, and Yahoo Mail for the people who got to the internet first and are older. So everyone has a different email, right? If you go to any of the email kind of clients, the email screen that you have, most of them look very different. Some of them have similar features, some of them are very different. Some of them let you do something, some of them let you message directly, some of them don't. All of that happens. The one thing which is common is the fundamental email which you send to each other is always interoperable. The reason is because all emails are running on this thing called SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So, which is why there are hundreds of email operators who can run their own businesses, customize their solutions to their different customer bases, but they can all integrate and talk to each other using SMTP. And which is why I like Tim Berners-Lee, because he could have done it differently. He could have happily said, hey, I've created this really cool tech solution. Let me do it I don't want to do it free. Let me charge ₹1 or $1 or 1 cent for everyone. Right. So maybe we would have lived in a world where, as a Outlook user, you would have subscribed to sending emails to Gmail. $1 per month, 100 rupees, 50 rupees, 10 rupees per month. 10 rupees to send it to Yahoo, 10 rupees to send it to this, 10 rupees send it to that. Now, when I'm saying all of this, it sounds absurd. Like, Saransh, why would we think about that? Email is free, because that is exactly what you're doing in e-commerce. You're a seller. Most of you run businesses. You have to show your products to different kinds of customers on different platforms. Some are on Amazon, some Flipkart, some this. Rediff.com, this and that. And for each of those places, you have to subscribe. You have to pay a separate fee. How? Why? So what is ONDC? And which answers the question raised earlier. The first thing to remember about ONDC, it is not an app and it's not a platform. And in fact, that is the biggest challenge about understanding ONDC sometimes, because the concept itself is not very hard. It's very, very simple. The problem is that because we are so used to think of e-commerce as platforms only, that is the only model you can think of. And that's not a problem with this group. That is a problem with almost everyone. All right. So we are not an app. We are not a platform. Think of it this way, and most of you are very familiar with UPI. When you use UPI, you use a Google Pay, a Phone Pay, a Paytm, Bharat Pay, something to transfer money to each other, right? You never log into Paytm. Oh, you never log into UPI. You never reach out to NPCI to onboard you. You have hundreds of companies or dozens of companies who help you use UPI. Why? Because they've integrated with UPI. UPI is a common, open, and actually free service for everyone to use. So what is ONDC? ONDC is a technology. It's a network. What it fundamentally does is connect different systems together. It's a common language for commerce. So I can be browsing on I can be selling on app one. That app one can be anything. You can be buying on app two. That app can be anything. As long as these two apps are ONDC enabled, which means they've implemented ONDC protocols, they can talk to each other. So I can find you, you can buy from me. That is what ONDC is. It is a network, like the internet. Internet is not a platform. On top of the internet, people build a google.com or facebook.com or different apps, different websites. Similarly, ONDC is a network on top of which people build different apps. Or people, in fact, use different apps. Now, taking this a little further, let's face it, the fundamental question we are all here to probably understand is, hey, I run a business, how do I get onto ONDC? Yeah, or how do I use this? It sounds great, sounds interesting. How do I get onto it? Now, let's talk about first as a seller. Now, technically, ONDC protocols, ONDC, the technical implementation is open source. It's out there on the internet, available for everyone. Ideally, if you have, two, three good software engineers, you can do it on your own. Obviously, that is not true for everyone. And which is why, how do you get on board ONDC? The answer is depends. Depends on what do you do and what your size and scale is, right? Because that, depending on that, you will need different levels of technical and otherwise hand-holding. You will need different kinds of support. So let's say on one hand, you have companies like HUL, okay, or Unilever or Zara or large fashion brands. Of course, they have the resources to hire those developers on their own. So they directly integrate with ONDC, right? They don't need to do anything. They directly integrate with ONDC. Their entire inventories are now visible. They are now visible on all their apps. On the other end of the spectrum, we have hello, am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, sir, you are. Please continue.
So on the other end of the spectrum, you have literally small farmers. We have weavers from Kanjivaram, not aggregators, actual weavers who, make 4 sarees in a year selling on ONDC. Now, how do they get on board? They use the help of some seller network participant, as we call them, which means someone who digitizes the catalogs and helps them get online. So that, so whoever you're working with, similarly, if you have a website, we have SDKs, we have these plugins for you to directly integrate with your website. But again, those plugins, and again, that process will get easier and easier by the day. Uh, Ideally, that website, you should be able to directly integrate your website with ONDC, so that if you're running your website, you should be able to see orders coming in from ONDC. However, of course, you will need someone's help. You may need someone's help in doing it. So that someone who helps you get on board the ONDC is what we call seller network participant from a seller side, from a business side. They may do nothing but give you technology. They may do more things for you. They may help you catalog. They may help you digitize. They may give you a POS machine to accept and manage orders. They may give you order management system. They may give you a billing system. They may, help you learn the processes and develop that operational. Okay, these are the terms and conditions. The most important thing is, if you use any of these network participants, seller network participants, that is your choice. Someone, you don't like someone's service, someone is charging you more fee, whatever, you can switch very easily. Why? Because today, if you switch from platform A to platform B, you lose the customers which are on that platform. In ONDC, that's not true. You use any seller network participant, your visibility on the network remains the same. It's identical. So the only way in which any of these seller NPs stay in business if they serve you the best, which is also why we see the commissions falling through the ground. Similarly, when consumers interact with ONDC, they use a buyer app, as we call them, a consumer facing app. Right now, the most popular ones are PIN code and phone and Paytm. There are others coming in. I think there are 10, 12 odd. Two of them are in mobility, two of them are in B2B. All of that is there. Now, again, as a consumer, you interact with the app. It's a very similar shopping experience. More importantly, in this case, Paytm, and that is why this becomes very important. The only thing Paytm does in this situation is make the experience best for the consumer. Let's say on the other side, you have someone like a Zoho, who is a seller app. The only thing which Zoho does is make life great for you, which is what we call a self-correcting model, which is what we call will breed more competition as more and more, because the consumer can go to any buyer app and access your business. If they don't get great experience, they will switch to someone else. Similarly, you can switch to any seller network participant. If you don't like their terms and conditions, you don't like service, you can switch to someone else. You will get the same customers. So that is what we say, giving power back to the nodes. In fact, one of the most important tenets of ONDC is that buyers and sellers should be able to do business on their own terms, which means Sami was talking about going online. Let's say he wants to say that, I will only give 5% commission on my product. Right? Here's the thing. He is welcome to publish that term. There will be buyer apps or seller apps who will be okay with accepting those terms. Others will not be. But that's okay, right? Others may say, no. If you give us 7%, we'll be okay. Ultimately, the good thing is it's Samir who's deciding his terms, not someone else. Similarly, Samir says, returns. If you are charging I'm not okay for returns, but if you want returns, I want a 10% higher price point because that is how my unit economics work. Okay. Up to him. Right. Another thing is, let's say logistics. We are talking about logistics. Sami says, I'm based in, Sami, I'm sorry, I'm taking so much liberty on your name. But Sami says, hey, I'm based in Ahmedabad. I have a great network in Gujarat. So what he says is, within Ahmedabad, I would like my products to be delivered same day. Now that is too much stress for me. Let me go to someone like a Zepto. Yeah. He doesn't need to integrate with Zepto directly. He can do it through the network. He can say, order, pick up location here, drop location here. How much will you charge me? 50 rupees. Okay, go. Otherwise, I'll go to Dunzo. Otherwise, I'll go to someone else. Ship problem. Therefore, there will be 10 players like that. Then he says, oh, no, there's an order coming in from somewhere in Gujarat. In Gujarat, my network is very good. Yeah, I don't need to buy network logistics online. I have a lot of friends who will give me great rates. So Samay says, no. I will charge 30 rupees or 50 rupees, whatever, shipping fee, and I will ship it myself. Why? This is where I know. Third order comes from Kanyakumari. Kanyakumari, I have no clue even how to send it to. Yeah. Let me buy intercity logistics on the network. India Post or Shiprocket comes and says, we are ready to do this for you. 100 rupees, okay, as long as the customer pays. Right. Now, there are hundreds and thousands of such choices and combinations I can keep talking about for the next hours. But the idea is choice, competition, and choice. Now, before I jump to the Q&A of this, because we are running slightly late, let me also tee it up with one thing. When we explain ONDC, we say that, we have two fundamental ideas, unbundling and interoperability. What does that mean? If you look at, again, fundamentals of commerce, if you look at any industry, you say that, specialization leads to efficiency and innovation and better product services. So when you buy a car from Maruti, I have always driven 800, so Maruti is what I can think of. When you buy a Maruti car, Maruti may not manufacture the tires. They buy the tires from, let's say, MRF. Yeah, they might buy the seats from someone. They might buy the window panes from someone, and they put it together for you, right? In fact, when you think of economics and principles of economics, Adam Smith, the father of modern economics, he wrote in his book Wealth of Nations that he was talking about making a pin. That if one person has to mine the iron, smelt it, purify it into steel, make it into thin strands, then cut it, sharpen it, and put a hole, make a pin out of it, and sell it, each pin will cost thousands of rupees, right? Because it's impossible for one person to do everything. But if there are 10 people involved, one person to mine the iron, one person to smelt it, specialization. If you stitch it together, if the efficiency increases, the cost reduces. That is true for every single segment of business on earth. Why not e-commerce? When it comes to e-commerce, we think, one person has to do everything, one platform. Unbundling and interoperability means what ONDC does as a network, we let different players specialize in different things. Some people will be good at customer service. Some people will be good at onboarding sellers. Some people will be good at providing a payment service. Some people will be good at providing logistics service. Some people will be good at packaging. Some people will be good at, giving insurance on a particular product, right? There'll be hundreds of such things. Our job is to stitch them all together. We unbundle it and make it interoperable. That is ONDC is not a platform. It's not an app. It's a network. That's it. From my side now, I think we'll switch to questions.
Nimit, please.
I have some questions because we are doing this exclusively, e-commerce only. First thing is how to start with ONDC. Means we are a seller. So how to choose the seller? Um, because so many options are there.
Yeah, I think I will take it a good problem to have from my side, because if in 1 year I can give you multiple options, I'm doing something right. I will also tell you, Nimit, we have, I think, 50 people live on the network. 5,000 are in the process of going live. So your options will scale soon from 30, 40 to 3,000 to 4,000. Now, what we are doing to do that? So right now, I think the way you've seen it, and just to make it obvious to everyone else, we list all our seller network, we list all our participants on our website. Slowly, we will also come up with a scoring system, right? Scoring ratings and reviews. So it will be like how you download an app on your phone. How do you do it? Maybe you hear it from somewhere, you go search it on a particular system, you find it, you look at its rating, you look at its review, maybe someone else recommends it for you. And of course, once you start talking with them, it's a business deal that you have the power in. And I think that is very important for you to remember. Since there are so many options, you reach out to 5 of them. Whoever responds to you fastest, gives you the best terms and conditions, you choose them. Rest you can say bye bye.
But who is giving good surveys? Not much data is available. Means if we start and if we don't enter in the right platform, means since there is no background, how things are.
No, so Niman, in fact, I would, and that is one of the things I would like to be. You're right that if you have to switch systems, it becomes a pain. But in fact, making it for you to switch between Serenata participants easy is one of my fundamental jobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, I'll give you an example, and this is not rolled out. So, but just to give you an idea of what are the different things we are working at. If you're a driver today on Uber or Ola, just for reference or whatever, let's say I have 5,000 rides with 4.7-star rating, right? That's a huge asset for me. I have built my reputation. All of you are in business, reputation is more valuable than anything else. If I switch a platform to a different platform now, all of that goes away. In ONDC, that won't be true. And that's more the characteristic, and that's like real world, right? The reputation you build will stick with you. And that reputation will apply to everyone, just the sellers as well as the network participants. The rating, the reviews, whatever you get will be on the network. So if you switch from a NPA to NPB, you take all your reputation, all of that data and all of that history with you. So it should be like switching between our vision that, again, we are not there yet. We have barely a year old, so give us a little time. A lot of teething issues, but our vision is it should be as easy as you switching between Chrome and Mozilla Firefox.
Okay. Got it.
So, Saransh, there are multiple stacks that is India stack is happening. I recently
We are part of India stack.
Yeah. So ONDC is one layer, then Open and Unified Health interface is also coming, right? So currently what I saw is ONDC is currently for physical goods, and recently in the news I read that fintech platforms as well as other platforms are also coming in the service sector. So how are all the three big things are coming and complementing each other?
Okay, so that's it's a very interesting thing because on Monday I'm going to the G20 Digital Public Infrastructure Summit, where all of us will be there. So that is one of the fundamental. So number one, one correction: ONDC is both product and service, all product and all services. Right, number one. Number two, Open is now integrated with ONDC. Number three, that is kind of the India way. Like that is what when you talk about India's digital public infrastructure idea, concept, whatever approach. The goal is that all of these networks, all of these systems have to be interoperable. At ONDC, we don't even think about payments. Why? We know that enough and more work has been done in the NPCI, UPI, etc. ecosystem. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. Why? Right. Similarly, identity. So identity is already being solved by Aadhaar and DigiLocker. Right. So we just make ourselves interoperable with them. Right. So all of these networks backed by the government of India are interoperable and they will work. Again, all of them are at different stages of maturity, but the goal is that they should work seamlessly together. And it will need a lot of entrepreneurs to come up with the ideas that, hey, what does the intersection of all these three mean? Put it this way, I am here to build a highway. What shop will run on the side of the highway is, I can give you land, but you have to decide what to build on it.
So that was the second question, that what would be the use case except the food delivery platform and all, fintech is also coming. So what can be the use case that we can imagine that the entrepreneurs can have right now? Because currently the memes and all started coming that Paytm is charging less, Zomato is charging more. So majority of the consumers right now know about the food delivery only as a use case. So what are the other use cases and the best example you can give for that?
Yeah, we had to.
Saransh, sorry to interrupt. Can you give Numayatri example, possibly a different one?
In fact, I was coming to that. So here's the thing: we had to start somewhere, right? So we started with grocery and food in Bangalore. We started with mobility in Kochi. In fact, okay. Why? Because I remember this slide which we used to present early on, that ONDC can enable 10 raised to 8 different kinds of use cases. You can't start with all of them in the on day one, right? You have to start somewhere. So we started with 3. Grocery, food. In fact, open mobility was a concept which was already being piloted a little before ONDC was formally created, right? So because those 3 segments are slightly older, they have had more time to mature, which is why now they're hitting the news. So you have food, which has picked up, grocery, which is going wide. Namayatri, what was being referred to. So for reference, if you're in Bangalore, Namayatri again, revolution was a very different idea of open mobility. So we created, like not our network participants created this tech layer, this very simple, very lightweight app, and said, we are not going to run it. They gave it to the taxi people and the taxi unions groups to run. Ki tum chala. It has to be your app. It is yours. So, and they don't charge commission. they charge a very small fee, subscription fee, right? So they say, अच्छा आपको ये सॉफ्टवेयर यूज करने का एक दिन का, and I don't know the exact numbers, but just say 10 रुपए 20 रुपए लगेगा, ठीक है? उसके बाद as many rides as you can make, all that money is yours. Consumers can find you through Namayatri. They will you take cash, you take payments directly, it comes to your account. Now that became so wildly popular, with especially with the auto drivers in Bangalore. More in especially because they had that sense ki ye hamara app hai, that now we have like 10 close to 10% of the ride volume in Bangalore coming through Namayatri, and this is in 4 months. So to give you an answer, we have grocery, food, fashion, beauty and personal care, home and decor, electronics, appliances, agriculture products, all of them live on ONDC. In terms of services, there's logistics, there's mobility, we have financial services coming in, we are thinking about, we are already working on exports. There are dozens of other categories which are on the way. So again, some of them will go up quicker, some of them will take their own time, some will be regional. As I said, we build the broad highway. Which business booms where?
So last question from my side, that as the ONDC is unbundling the whole ecosystem of the digital commerce, how would the buyer or the buyer apps, that is the consumer facing apps, would differentiate themselves once the ONDC becomes a whole big like a UPI ecosystem?
No. So there are so many ways in which people can and already are differentiating themselves, right? Again, I'll quote Koshi's example, what my boss keeps saying. He's a Mallu. He's he's a very Mallu. Okay, so this is his favorite example. He's like, I want an app which is only made for Mallus. So it has to be in Malayalam, okay? And it scours through the ONDC network of all the products and services available, and gives me products and services which are very Mallu. So for Onam, I want a veshti and I want a traditional clothing. It says, Onam is coming 20 days later, 1 month later, time to order. Okay. I want to make sadhya. Okay. It gets me ingredients, or it helps me find restaurants for sadhya. Okay. I'll give you a different. Maybe if I have to contextualize, just to take it a short for Ahmedabad. I want to build an app in Ahmedabad which helps me during Navratri. Okay. Find the optimum clothing for me and my wife. Okay, find the best places for Navratri party. Find the best restaurants and other places which can help me order food for my own party. Okay, helps me find Dandiya, because that is one bloody thing which is hard to find online. Okay, helps me invite people, or helps. I have friends who are saying, hey, we want to travel to Ahmedabad during this time. Helps me navigate that. Sign up here. This is where you can land, and we'll get you a taxi. You can stay here. It shows you hotels to stay just based on which has the best Navratra location around it. Right. So specialization. So if you look at already, you have people who are focusing, like, let's say pin code. They are focusing on an urban audience. You have, on the other hand, you have people like Spice Money who are looking at tier 3, tier 4. We have applications who are working on assisted in villages. So you're a farmer in a village. You basically have to just go to center in a village and say, hey, for my daughter's wedding, I want to buy this, and this guy will help you buy it through NDC, right? So that experience is very different from what you and I expect. But there are a lot of ways to differentiate.
Uh, Mr. Shanil sir has a question to ask.
Hmm.
Shanil bhai?
Yes.
Yeah.
Audible? Yeah. So I have a couple of questions around. So first is that you stated that there will be multiple stakeholders and there will be incentives for multiple stakeholders, as you talked about the case of how the Maruti manufactures the car. So please highlight how this is gonna happen. Uh, Second, what would happen to the customers acquired by a certain app and the services is provided by another application? What will happen to the data of those customers, and will there be the things like directly connecting the customers and not through our application? So something on highlighting these points.
So first question, could you help me understand what you're asking?
So, for example, you said that not one person will do all the stuff. So there will be a delivery partner, there will be a ordering app, there will be the supplying app. So the consortia of this would work as a engine in motion. So how the variety of incentives related to the different kind of services. So for example, if I come up with an app which give customers to the suppliers, so what will be the incentives to me, what will be the incentives to the delivery partner, and how they are gonna be calculated or defined on ONDC?
Okay, so how basically what are business flows and commercials? Okay, so every transaction on the network is a digital contract. Okay. And of course, like any contract, there is a negotiation part. So let's say I'll just take a couple of examples to help you understand what that means. Let's say you build an app for consumers in your area. Okay, you onboard them and you plug into ONDC. So then you have the right to say, listen, for every order which my consumers place, I will charge a 2% commission. Okay. As ONDC, we don't dictate it. We don't even get to know it. Yeah. Again, I build the highway. You build a restaurant on the side of the highway. Whether you sell, matar paneer in that restaurant for 50 rupees or 500 rupees, I don't know, and I don't care. Yeah. So you can say, hey, I will charge 2% commission for all my consumers who, if they place an order. The thing is, any seller and seller participants who are okay with giving you that 2% commission will start showing on an app. Otherwise, they won't. Okay. Similarly, you can have terms on your like, listen, I will only show 4-star rated products. Okay. That's your choice. Okay. On the other hand, you will have different models. So for consumers, you will say, other option, I will charge you 50 rupees subscription per month. No, 0% commission. I will curate the best products for you for this. Okay, up to you. So similarly on the seller side, right? You're a seller and network participant, which means you have 100 businesses around you, which you're bringing onto the network. Okay. Same kahani. You can charge them a commission. You can charge them a subscription. Okay. You can have a different way of making money out of it, and I don't even know. There will be new innovative models. The idea is what if let's say you're a seller network participant. In fact, if you're a seller network participant, a seller NP, and you're bringing sellers on board as ONDC, I don't even know what your agreement with the seller is, and I don't care. Whatever, if you are, let's say, if you say that, as a seller NP says, I will only sell to buyer apps which do not give, or which say no return. Yeah, that's your term. Some buyer apps will be okay with it and they'll show you product. Some buyer apps will not be. So there will be hundreds of such terms and conditions, and as we all mature, you will come up with more. The fundamental idea is it's transmitted and exchanged on the network. Whoever agrees to those terms will do business. Whoever doesn't will not. There's no one who is centrally sitting and saying, you will get this much, you will get this much, you will get this much, you will get this much. No.
Mhm. So like and what about the like customer data privacy and all kind of stuffs? Anything made on to that part too, or the data will be accessible to all the players who are connected for the service delivery?
So two parts to it. One is what data does ONDC get? Nothing. We have a zero data visibility policy. Number one. Number two is all customers are by default protected by India's data governance policy, consumer protection policy. So, no, if you're a seller, depending on situation, you will not get all like. I don't think there will be a situation where the consumer's data is visible on a network. That is not going to happen. That is not possible. Like, it's like I'm sorry, I'm trying to translate what is very technical diagram in my head into words, which is I'm slightly thing, but basically that's not possible. So consumer data privacy, where like that. In fact, data privacy is where we start. Almost the first consideration in everything, and it's not just consumers data privacy, also business data privacy, right? You as a business, that will also be there. That is also there.
So how like for example, I'll give a case. So I have a app wherein there are consumers. Consumers put the orders that these are their requirements. So it'll go to the to some kind of network automatically, wherein the network will pick up what they wish to fulfill, or the entire chain will be made first and then the consumer ordering thing will happen.
No. So here's and again, this is then becoming very technical. But to put it simply, let's say you build an app and someone starts typing Atta on the app. That goes out to the network and it brings to your app saying, hey, everyone who's selling Atta to this place, what is this person, there will be some data points attached to it. This location, they will give it to you as an app. It's your job to render it, show it in a particular way. You can sort it, filter it based on certain principles.
Okay.
With the pricing calculate. So let's say everyone will give you've already exchanged terms. So say like 100 रुपए काटा है, मैं 102 का दिखाएगा कि उस 102 रुपए मेरे हैं. Some of them will have logistics inbuilt. So you will say, delivery, inclusive delivery cost itna. Others you will show as, delivery extra. And so if someone chooses that piece of Atta, then they will take it. You have to show a screen where they can choose the delivery options.
So means the products and supply side, on the supply side, the products and services will be compartmentally available, wherein we can bundle it up, or we don't wish to bundle it, but it's completely on us.
Yeah, so that's innovation, right? That you will have to figure out and obviously test and learn
what value proposition we'll have to put forward.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Saransh, if you allow me, if I can answer this question in a different way to Anil.
Yes, Ajay, please.
Yeah, so see, the answer is that if you go to a local shop also today, say 5 shops are similar kind of shops in a place, and then someone will say, you want this 10 items, I'll give you free, I mean delivery fee. In some cases, someone will say that these 2 items are on discount, the rest 8 are not. In a third shop, there might be different, combination of these services, right? Or I'll give you 10% off, but the delivery I'll charge 30 rupees. So these kind of combinations are possible on a buyer app because the data is pulled from the network, from different seller apps, and each has their own ways to, earn money or whatever. I mean, get presents or whatever ways, right? So primarily that's how it works.
Right, right. Got it, got it. I got that part.
Saran sir, I have a question.
Yes, please.
So would you also be rolling out like we do some advertising on platforms? Would we also be able to do on ONDC network, like investing in keywords and all those things?
So, that is a half an hour discussion on its own.
Okay.
Short answer, advertising through NAC will work very, very differently. It may or may not be keyword based.
Okay.
My question is very much similar that currently we are getting our customers in 3 ways majorly. One is through Google, second one is through Facebook or Instagram, and third one is directly when the customer is going to Amazon. So I want to know that how the buying will happen in ONDC. Means if someone will be searching through Google and then enter into the ONDC network, or if the person is going to ONDC network and searching for that product or services, and then the pages will come. And what we should do, means how it will be decided that who is going to come on first page, who is going to come on second page. So how the algorithm is working.
So again, let me answer with first principles. We are not a platform, right? So how will consumers find you? Whether through Google or whether through going to a particular ONDC app, all of the above, right? Why? Think of it this way: if this is a buyer app, okay, their only job is to get more and more orders. That is the only way they make money. So in fact, they will lose night sleep making sure all the products that they are showing on the network are visible everywhere. And Google SEO and SEM may be one of them. The other thing is, think of it this way, which is what we have realized sellers are very happy about. Today, when you advertise on Instagram or Facebook or something else, now you can embed deep links to your product page for on 50 different apps. The ONDC apps. You can say, hey, you can buy any of these apps which are available to you. You can buy my product. The more important thing is you don't have to pay the buyer app any specific commission in that case to advertise your product. Right? The advertising again comes back to you. Now, the third part of your question is how well ranking or search and sort will work on different buyer apps effectively. Okay. The way we put it is we ask all the buyer apps to make their criteria public and like accessible to all. So let's say a Paytm says, I will sort people based on price and delivery time. Okay. PhonePe, and again, these are just examples. I don't know. I don't remember what exactly. PhonePe says, no. For me, rating and pricing are more important. Okay. Now, as we see that the buyer apps have the independence to sort the results which are shown, as long as the criteria is publicly defined. The other thing which is important here is as we discussed not 10 minutes back, that all buyer apps are now very, very customer obsessed. Yeah. And the same customer has access to exactly the same customer base, seller base on different platforms. So as a like as you'd have noticed, everyone, if you book a cab, you try to book it both, maybe both through Ola and Uber when you're in Delhi. You can see कौन सा पहले आएगा, कौन सा सस्ता आएगा. That's a social audit system that becomes now very, very powerful in ONDC. Why? I want to buy from Samir or I search for Atta. Yeah, I see that, PhonePe is only showing Ashirwad Kata. Paytm shows all kinds of Atta, which are more affordable. A, I will buy all kinds of Atta. B, I will go to Twitter and tell PhonePe, haha, I know what you guys are doing. So that is social audit. So that is the idea. We are not dictating how exactly, because that's intellectual property and that's also innovation. Different. I'll give you a different example. I don't know what product. So let's say someone types shoes on an ONDC buyer app. Okay, a buyer app which is focused on urban elite. Okay, will want to prioritize shoes which are 2,000 rupees above. I'll show Nike and Adidas and all those designer shoes maybe. If I am an app which is built for villages, I'm not going to show, probably there's no point showing Gucci shoes. You will probably show Bata shoes or Paragon. So there's a lot of context, which is why we don't dictate what people should do. We just say, hey, whatever you're doing as a buyer app, whatever criteria you're using has to be public and transparent.
Right. So, Vishal bhai, do you have something to ask? You were asking about some payment gateways. Vishal Modi sir, if you can hear me.
Yeah, hi. Saransh sir. I would like to know one thing. I've been trying to get on the payment gateway on board, get on board on some of the payment gateways available right now in the market. I tried to reach out to Razorpay, CC Avenue, Paytm, PhonePe, and it's really being difficult. They are not responding to my mails. They took all my information. They, inducted me, all business details, everything. And last May, there is no response from them. And I think this is not the only my problem, but the people who are trying to get on board or, get into payment gateways, they are facing this trouble. So I researched online and it says that there are some RBI guidelines update there. And because of that, this is not happening as of now. So then what is the solution to us?
Vishal, so first, I'm sorry because payment gateways is something which are not directly part of the ONDC network. So I don't talk to them directly. तो मुझे इतना पता नहीं है.
Okay. Okay.
But if I think what you corrected is yourself right, key. Because I think there is some movement expected or some clarity which is expected from the RBI. They're kind of holding off.
Okay.
But again, I'm sorry, मुझे इसके बारे में.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Thank you.
Ajay sir, I
So
think.
Saransh, how we are all are excited to how to get onboarded on ONDC. So if we can quickly touch down those important points and ways we can get onboarded.
So very simple. If you are a business, go to ondc.org. I think which is what was posted on the chat group also. You will see a list of network participants. Seller network participants by category. In fact, I think we have also developed a kind of a automatic flow, but never mind that. Serial network participants, whichever category you're in, you can filter and sort, and you'll find a long list. If you like someone, you can reach out to them directly, and that's it. It's their job to run after you and get your business.
So there's a two parts to it: seller network and customer network participants.
So buy network participants are if you're a customer.
Mhm.
If you're a customer, you can use any of those apps to use or buy from ONDC. If you want to sell on ONDC, there are seller network participants.
And any specific sectors which are barred as of now?
Not barred. As I said, there are 8-10 sectors which we are already live in. Rest are in progress. So, food, grocery, fashion, beauty and personal care, electronics, appliances, agricultural products, home and kitchen decor. These are the product categories we are already live in. Financial service, mobility and logistics, we are again live in. Rest in the pipeline.
Anything on health and pharma?
Coming soon, I think. I will have to check some. But I think coming soon.
Okay.
There's two quick questions. One is you mentioned about ads and that it will take some time to discuss that. Is there any literature on it to go through and understand? Because I looked into NDC website and other places, could not find anything.
I will do that. Honestly, when I must apologize on this, we are still building all the documentation. We're still building everything. Less than
Right.
a
Okay.
less than a year old, so the documentation and kind of the communication is not always out there. I'll try to share what I can.
And the second question is on the so you mentioned about logic or whatever way say pin code app or a Paytm would show sellers. Those kind of, I mean, that how do you find that out? Because when you dig into pin code app or a Paytm app,
No,
I
no.
mean, you cannot find those. Yeah. So
No,
possibly is it only with
That
ONDC
is
shared with? Yeah.
no, that becomes available to you as part of a community when you join ONDC.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So kind of as a seller, if I join and then I'll know if I'm getting listed in a particular app. Okay. Got it. Yeah. That's all.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Saransh sir. So I just wanted to ask about hardcore B2B and engineering products, for example, steel or motors or bearings, etc., which are hardcore engineering or it's a fairly technical products. Do you see those products getting listed on ONDC and the factories and the manufacturers purchasing them from directly from the ONDC network?
Yes. Priority. One of the priority areas.
Okay,
Not
okay.
I don't let me check. May not be live immediately, but soon.
Okay, because there are so many,
And
the whole supply chain is very fragmented right now.
again, I think we see more and more, for instance, something which is traded in terms of commodities. Let's say through an NCDX or something, will probably come a little later. This is steel, which is bad because the trade in steel is slightly more commoditized, right?
Yeah.
But industrial goods very much. Very quick.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So anyone has any question?
The session is open to all. Whoever wishes to ask a question, please go ahead. Let's wait for 30 seconds or else.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Mayur here. I had asked the question about delivering the fruits, fresh fruits in corrugated box to be delivered. Mr. Rungta has replied yes. So I wanted some more details to know. Is anybody selling fruits right now through ONDC platforms?
Big basket.
Big basket.
I think
Okay.
they're the first ones who moved in that.
Pin
Uh,
code app in Bangalore we can buy.
So it depends on, I think it will depend, sir, on a shelf life. Some of the fruits which are, most of the fresh fruits in weight boxes, because right now we are building it, but we don't have a cold storage warehousing chain right now. So obviously, what you can sell right now on the network is a hyperlocal. If you have a warehouse from which you can sell directly, that is easy, because most of the fruits without a cold storage, transportation becomes very tricky, as you will know better than me. So having said that, if it's feasible for you, there's absolutely no problem in selling fruits on corrugated boxes. I think someone was selling lychee for a brief while. I think they ran out of season. One more fruit. Yeah. So I think it's already something which is already there.
And is somebody selling dry fruits like cashews or almonds right now?
Oh, a lot. That's a lot.
Okay.
Right, actually, I think I'm also running out of time. Shall we call it a day?
Yeah,
Sure, just a second. Near Nimit, please invite Palash.
sorry.
Please go ahead. I'll invite Palash. Bhai.
Yeah. So Palash bhai, can you conclude the session?
Yes, obviously. So thanks a lot, Saransh, for giving your valuable time on a busy scheduled day. So it was the best and amazing session, which was just thought over the chat while we were WhatsApping, and it was just pop out by the Samir Bhai, which he put in the group, and I discussed with Nimit and Akshay over the same point that we can have the session on ONDC. So it's the best basic insight you gave today to us and all of the YouTube viewers and along with the EDIA members and all. So along with this, I would truly appreciate Shivesh Shinde, who is the alumni of EDI. He helped us to connect you, and Akshay and Nimit are the backbone of EDI, FinTalk. So we are running this session from this is the 11th session right now. And I will also appreciate the second and the more many topic can be covered on ONDC platform and unicorns and all by you all also. So basically, Samir Bhai, thanks a lot once again for opening remarks, which you gave today. And thanks a lot for giving us the idea, and we shared and we implemented as we discussed. So thanks a lot to all of you. Now we would like to say a very great news from the EDIA. We are going to happen the great meetup for the Goa reunion, which is all the entrepreneurs you can say, and it's gonna be a great